So today we are back with the Volkswagen Vanagon and some additional upgrades that I've done on the van. This one is a bit of a van tour, but I'm not going to take you through all the Westfalia details or the Vanagon details. There's a lot of videos out there already that show you what lovely vehicles these things are. But today I'm going to really take you through some of the upgrades that I've done that really make this van, unique, fun, practical, and a joy to drive. It's amazing for me to think that after 40 years, in some case, many more than that, these buses or Vanagons, Westies, whatever you want to call them, they're not only still on the road, but they're on the road. Unlike a classic car that just goes to car shows, these are used for camping, everyday traveling, and of course, making adventure. My first Vanagon video, if you haven't checked it out, you might want to take a look. It's more about what's hidden underneath. The suspension, the brakes, sway bars, bushings, all of those things to make it really drivable and safe on the road. I'll leave a link below to check that video out. But this one's more about the creature comforts and the systems that make this thing great for being on the road, camping and traveling. Without further ado, here we go. So first off are the bumpers. These bumpers are from Go Westy. They're a much heavier duty bumper than what comes on these vans as stock OEM from the factory. Really made of some solid steel and should last a long time. Kind of makes the van look a little more modern and maybe a bit more kick-ass too. But the real reason for these bumpers and what makes them great is the fact that you can add onto them. So I've added on this swing away system. I've got a tray here with a Pelican case on it. I've got the spare tire mounted and some ladder rungs. And it's pretty easy to swing away. A couple of clips and it just comes right open, and then you can access everything inside. I may add a second swing away over here just for a barbecue that would kind of put the barbecue right into the area by the slider where you'd be camping and using that barbecue. It would be very handy, so I may do that down the road. Next up are the headlights. So back to the front of the van here. The original headlights, not so great, and I upgraded these to these ones. They're LED. They have the wonderful little halo for daytime running lights and turn signals, so they light up yellow on each side to indicate which way you're going, and nice and bright. I've got them from Van Cafe. Great upgrade. Maybe not for everybody, the look, but I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. Next up is the solar panel. So I installed a 100 watt solar panel right in the luggage rack location just up the top here, and it's from Renogy, and it fits very nicely into the luggage rack. It doesn't recess completely, but just about, and it's fastened on with hinges. Let's go have a look. So there's a hinge here and there and two in the back, so you can actually prop up the panel if you want to get more angle to the sun, which is really cool. Gotta thank Gotta Split, a YouTube channel, doing a great tutorial on how to do this upgrade. If you are thinking of doing this, check out his video. Very well done and served me well. Next up, stereo. So this was probably the #1 upgrade for me when I bought the van. It was the first thing I did. Gotta have good tunes. The stereo that was in here originally, very lacking. So I wanted to put in something where I would have sort of the modern conveniences. So Apple CarPlay, a reverse camera, all of those things that make for a good modern vehicle. And I looked high and low trying to figure out which one would fit the best into the Vanagon. Single DIN unit, so you're not cutting or changing anything with the dash of the van. So it had to fit in nice, and so what I ended up with was an Alpine. It's an FX 409. I think it's FX. Is it FX? It's the Alpine Halo 9, which is a 409, I believe, ILX 409, and it's been really great. It's not a perfect fit, but it is the next best thing, and it allows me to do all of the music things that I want to do. It has a reverse camera, which is great, which is really handy in this van. And it also has the ability to do hands-free calling, and I installed the microphone right up into the dash area. Nice and neat install there, and it works very well. In addition to the Alpine head unit, I installed an Alpine 4-channel amplifier under the seat in the back, and did all the wiring, wired it all up, which is great. That powers up a subwoofer that's built into the box under the seat as well, and then 4 speakers, 2 in the doors and 2 in the rear cabinet. Looking at upgrading my door speakers to some component speakers that'll have 6.5-inch speakers in the door and some tweeters that will be up on the dash area, but that's coming very soon. Maybe another video down the road. Next up is the Scan Gauge 2. A Scan Gauge is a reader, an OBD 2-port reader. And being that my van has been upgraded to a Subaru 2.5 engine, it has an OBD 2 port, so we can plug in the Scan Gauge right into that, and basically it's a diagnostic tool, and it's also gauges, so I get RPMs, really important, I get the exact temperature of the coolant, ambient air temperature, oxygen, all kinds of readings, more than probably I actually use, but I definitely use that water temperature. I keep an eye on that religiously, and it's great having an RPM gauge as well. To be able to install the Scan Gauge 2, we were looking at a location, trying to figure out what the best place to put it in, and there's an ashtray on the dash, which is, obviously not used by us, that's for sure. And that provided a great location. The size was just about right, so we designed in Fusion 360 a Scan Gauge 2 holder that would fit and mount right into that ashtray location, which is great. My boys and I first printed it in PLA plastic, which is a little bit, shall we say, soft and melty. So I came back to the van after a couple of days and it had basically sunk into the hole. Not so good. But we reprinted it in ABS, which is a much more heat resistant plastic, and it's been in the van now for a year and working amazing. Next up, batteries. So the battery system in this van originally consisted of the starting battery, which is under the passenger seat, and the house bank battery, which is under the driver's seat. Under the driver's seat also had a swivel. I've removed the swivel because that gives you access to some valuable space underneath that seat, and the swivel really, it doesn't buy you much with all of the cabinets and everything in place anyways. It doesn't allow you to really swivel much anyway, so that was a no-brainer to delete that and gain all that valuable space. Originally it had a lead acid battery as the house bank, and I really wanted to go to lithium. Didn't like the prices and some of the shapes of the lithium batteries that came stock off the shelf. Didn't really work well for fitting into that space, very specific dimensions to be able to do it. I found some prismatic cells, I think just on Amazon, and was able to make my own battery out of those 4 cells, so they're each 3.2 volts piece. You wire them up in series. So the first thing I did was basically put them together in the shape that I knew was going to fit really well, test fit them into the space, and wrap them in a fiber tape to keep some pressure on them, keep them nice and tight together. And then I did bus bars, so I made some copper bus bars to wire up the battery in series, and added the battery management system, or BMS. Lots of good videos out there on YouTube for that, so I won't get too into the details, but super fun project. Put the battery together, and it fit just wonderfully in that space. Also had room under the seat for a DC to DC battery charger, which was from Renogy. All the fusing and battery posts. There's a Bluetooth module for the actual BMS itself, so I can keep an eye on the individual cells and make sure they're balanced and everything's good there. And also Renogy comes with a plug-in kind of remote, which allows you to keep track of how full the batteries are, your state of charge, what the voltage is, how many amps you're drawing, how many amps is coming in from solar, all those good things. So really what I had to do was take the old battery, get it all scrubbed out really nicely. I did some sound insulation with kind of a butyl and foil system, and then some more insulation on top of that. I got it all taped up, and then installed all my components, and it's been running ever since. It's been really, really great. And the best thing about 100 amp hours of lithium is that you get to use pretty much all 100 amp hours if you want to. It's not like a lead acid battery where you can really only get down to about 50% before you start doing damage. These things are really resilient, and they just work amazing, and they keep the beer cold 24/7 with solar. Next up, the carpets. This van came with the original carpets from 1984 when I bought it, and let's just say they're pretty grimy, actually really, nasty. So they had to come out, and the first thing I needed to do was just rip the carpets out. There was some underlayment, some of it was missing, but it created a big mess. There was lots of glue, so got some solvent, cleaned all that up, got everything all clean, discovered a little bit of issues under the front footwell on the driver's side, fixed that up, and then started the process of underlayment, which I did the Neuco. It's a butyl and foil based system, so put the Neuco down first, then I put it down, the Neuco absorbing, it's like a foam mat, just another layer of insulation. And I left a little channel in the driver's side going from the dash to underneath the seat so that I could run cables and hide it nicely without seeing any big humps or anything like that. I even added a couple of extra wires just in case I needed to install something in the future down the road. So I have the ability to get 12 volts kind of either direction if I need to do that. The carpet kit that I got was from a company called Newton Commercial, and I gotta say they make an amazing product. It's very much like the OEM carpet, so one piece that fits from the driver's side all the way to the passenger side, another piece that goes down the middle, really well made. It was a little bit pricey and took a long time to get because I had to ship it from the UK, but in my opinion, you can't beat it. It's just it's a beautiful thing. Really makes the van feel new and modern. A 40-year-old van with a new car smell, can't beat that. Well, that's just about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you do enjoy this sort of content, or building and making things and adventuring, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until the next time, thanks for watching.